next couple of weeks, I'm going to go over something. It's going to be the theme over the next couple of weeks. We'll put it that way. It's going to be this: gain, grow, and go. Gain in Christ, grow in Christ, and go in Christ. What I call the 3 G's of Christ. The 3 G's of Christianity. They're, in essence, they're what we're called to do over and over again. We're called to continuously grow and to learn more and to understand exactly what's going on in our life. We're called to continuously gain knowledge and wisdom through what this book says, what the Bible tells us, and through whatever God might reveal to us. Whether it might be something general for everybody or something if I could speak, specific for someone certain. And then finally there's go. And go is just as it says. Go make disciples of all nations. But before we can get to that go, we have to get the first 2 somewhat down pat. The growing and the gaining. This morning is more of an introduction to it, because before we can even do the gaining or the growing, many times we have the past. We have our past that just holds us and burdens us down and will not allow us to move forward. Sometimes it's things that you may not even realize, but they can still hold you down. In Genesis 19, verses 17 through 26. As you're turning to there, this scripture reveals a little bit about how not to deal with the past. There's a certain person in this passage of Scripture that is mentioned very few times. You don't hear about her much in the church. But what she did is something that we need to remember. As soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, "Flee for your lives. Don't look back, and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I cannot flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, here is a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life will be spared." He said to him, "Very well, I will grant this request to you. I will not overthrow this town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it." That is why the town was called Zara. By that time Lot had reached Zara. The sun had risen over the land. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities and entire plains, including all those living in the cities, and also all the vegetation in the land. But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Lot's wife looked back. Our past causes us to look back. Lot's wife was looking back, literally, as it says, but why was she? You have things at your house. You think about your house. You think about where you live at. You think about everything that you've got there. And then all of a sudden you've got to leave it. You've got to get out of there. Maybe a fire has come, maybe a fire has started up, it's gone uncontrollably. You've got to leave it. Something's happening. And you've got to leave your house. You've got to leave every possession you have. Every memory that you can think of comes from that place. Whether good or bad. Now we all know Sodom and Gomorrah, that's bad. There's a lot of bad things about that. But yet I'm sure that Lot and his family made some great memories there. Made some extremely wonderful memories there. And I think that's the reason why she looked back. Got a poem here I want to read you. Some of you may recognize it, some of you may not. I've dealt with my ghost and I've faced all my demons. Finally content with the past I regret. I found you find strength in your moments of weakness. For once I'm at peace with myself. I've been burdened with blame, trapped in the past for too long. I'm moving on. I've lived in this place and I know all the faces. Each one is different, but they're always the same. They mean me no harm, but it's time that we face it. They'll never allow me to change. But I've never dreamed home would end up where I don't belong. At last I can see, life has been patiently waiting for me. And I know there's no guarantees, but I'm not alone. There comes a time in everyone's life when all you can see are the years passing by. And I've made up my mind that those days are gone. What words stand out in that to you? I've dealt with my ghosts and I've faced my demons. What is it in your life? What is it in each individual person's life, in your life specifically today, that's holding you back? That's causing you from not allowing God to come into you in a stronger way? What is that demon that's hurting you? It can be many things. It can show itself in many different ways. It can affect us in ways that we never thought could be possible. You might not even realize you have it. But is it there? Have you dealt with your ghosts and your demons? The biggest demon there is, the biggest thing that causes us to look back and to not move forward, to not move on, is the burden of blame, the burden of hurt, the burden of sorrow, the burden of guilt, the burden of being felt like I've been done wrong. All of those things can stop us from going where God is and keeping us over here. Keeping us over here, standing, wanting to reach. They can stop us from doing that so many times. Those burdens are what really drives us to stop doing what God wants us to do. You look at everything that Jesus taught us. You look at everything that even Paul taught us. Everything that Bible says. Where does it tell you to burden your life? Where does it tell you to hold on to the things that are holding you back? It doesn't. It won't. You won't find that in there. Because Jesus does not want us to hold on to the things that hold us back. That, in essence, is one of the reasons that He came. Is the main reason that He came to this earth, died on the cross, and rose again, so that we would not be burdened with the old. You look in the Old Testament. You look at the way that people had to live then. You look at the things that had to be done. To fellowship, you had to give an offering. If you committed any type of sin, you had to do an offering. If you were clean or unclean, you had to do an offering. But if you were unclean, you had to pretty much isolate yourself from everyone. Completely. No matter what was going on, there was regulation after regulation after regulation. Many of them God put in place. I think there's two reasons for that. One is so that we truly understand what it means to be righteous. What it truly means to go through life and to feel what needs to be felt and to really open your heart up. But more than that, I think that God in some ways may have just put those things in place so that when Jesus did come, we would know what He was truly doing. I heard a lady the other day say that we as Christians are supposed to live by the New Testament, not by the Old Testament. She says she doesn't like when preachers go back from the Old Testament and New Testament. Doesn't like to mix it between the two because we shouldn't have to deal with the Old Testament. It is true we live by the New Testament. That is true. But Jesus did not, and this is one great major mistake that many people make. This girl made it. But there's a lot of other people out there that think that too. Jesus did not abolish the law. He fulfilled the law. Therefore, not doing away with the past, as we should not do. But He fulfilled it, allowing us to move forward and to find what we need to find. He fulfilled it, He explained it, and He gave us in greater detail of what we need to know.